There's certainly a very famous expression that it's the little things that count. And that's true on many different levels, Rabbi Say. And it's certainly true on a spiritual level. The idea of the little things, which again could easily be lost, you can easily fall into the trap on many different levels of looking at the big things, because the big things really matter. And they certainly do matter. And big mitzvos matter, and there's certainly mitzvos that we associate with big things. There's certainly certain mitzvos that take on a very almost larger-than-life kind of perspective. Certainly Shmir Shabbos and Kashrus, there's certainly big mitzvos, and there are big events and big things that we do, and we certainly have to focus on those things, because if we don't do the big things, well, that's obviously it's a big mistake. But it's really not true that the little things sort of can get lost, and that we have sort of a right or a certain attitude that we might have that if I fail to do a little thing or recognize a little thing, it's not such a big deal. It's a very big deal. It's a very, very big deal. In fact, Rabbi Yisrael Salanta points out that very often when we talk about doing tshuva on Rosh Hashanah, and Elul right before Rosh Hashanah, we talk about doing tshuva during Yemei Elul, very often it's the little things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will look at, and almost those are the ones that really, in a sense, haunt us. And I think we can discuss what little things are, what big things are. But let's just focus a little bit on this week's Parsha, maybe then extrapolate it to other types of situations. Moshe Rabbeinu tells Klal Yisrael in this week's Parsha, this is it. We've been waiting for this moment for a very long time. 210 years of servitude in Mitzrayim. All the makos that we've gone through, that we've seen the Yad Hashem, we've seen the miracles, we've seen incredible things. And now it's time to go out. And when are you going out, guys? Says Moshe Rabbeinu to Klal Yisrael. This is a special message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu that Moshe is delivering to the Jewish people. You want to know when you're going out? You're not going out in the winter time. You're not going out in the summertime. You're not going out at a time when maybe it's too hot or it's too cold and there's some room for kvetching. You are going b'chodesh Aviv. You are going in the springtime. You are going on the 15th day of Nissan, where the weather is beautiful. We're at 72 degrees. And there's a nice, cool breeze outside, where it's like it just keeps you just almost in a perfect setting. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling Moshe Rabbeinu, I want you to tell the Jewish people what I'm doing for them. And I want you to let them know that I thought about when I'm going to take you out. I want them to realize that I didn't take you out at any time where there's room for complaint. B'chodesh Aviv. Make this point, Rabbi, at the Shabbos table. Why does the Torah have to say B'chodesh Aviv? Rashi brings it on the spot. And when you stop and think of what this Rashi is saying, it's an incredible Rashi. It's a Rashi that we should take with us all of our lives, and especially when it comes to the ultimate relationships like marriage throughout our lives. In terms of how we look and we appreciate and how we interact with our spouse. Because what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling the Jewish people, what we learn from that message, is that you can win the lottery. And you can be on cloud nine, because the Jewish people, Rabbi say, think about it, we're going out of slavery. Through these amazing miracles, we have freedom, emancipation. We are no longer under the servitude of Mitzrayim, and we are going out to the desert to receive the Torah and to become God's people. Could there be anything more glorious than that? When you win the lottery, so to speak, do you really care that the car that you go in to get to the lottery office, okay, that whether the air conditioning works or doesn't work, and even if it's 85 degrees and it's all hot in the car, I'm going to collect my ticket. The $55 million ticket I'm collecting, so good. I'm going to buy myself a brand new car anyway, and the air conditioning will be just fine. So does it really matter? When you do something for a person and it's a small thing, does it really make a difference? Do small indiscretions make a difference? Think about it. It's a flip side of the exact same thing. If you do something small and somebody appreciates it, that means if you don't do something that is small, or if maybe I do a small mistake, that means a person also appreciates that, or unfortunately is impacted by that. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us, I want you to know the way I made you. I want you to know the way you're wired. You're wired in a way where you can be on cloud nine, and you can be given the most amazing gift, but it will make a difference to you what the small little other subtlety is happening, is going on. That small subtlety of the weather outside. As I'm walking away from Mitzrayim, and as the Egyptians are completely overwhelmed by Makas Bechoros, and the world is caving in on them, and here we are, we're going free. We're walking out, and no, they can't do anything about it. The weather makes a difference. Small things make a difference. Small mistakes make a difference. Moshe Rabbeinu goes out to tell Paro when Makas Choshech is coming. And he says, Vayihi kachatzos halayla. It'll be when Makas Bechoros is coming. And he says, Vayihi kachatzos halayla. I want you to know what's going to be happening at midnight, when in a sense there's going to be total chaos in Mitzrayim. And instead of saying, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Vayihi bachatzos halayla, another important Rashi to share with your family and with the people to Shabbos table, why does Moshe deviate from Vayihi bachatzos, which HaKadosh Baruch Hu said at midnight? And Moshe Rabbeinu, when talking to Paro, says, Vayihi kachatzos halayla, it'll be about midnight. Why make it about midnight? Just say it's midnight. You know that when that clock strikes 12, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring this makkah to against the Egyptians. What are you changing the wording around? To kachatzos halayla. I'm sure you all learned the Rashi. I'm sure you know the Rashi. But have you really thought about this Rashi? Very often Rashi look us right between the eyes, and then we don't see the incredible impact of waking up and smelling that book. Of recognizing what it is the Rashi is telling us. Yes?
Okay, so it's nice and all that Hashem did this chesed for Bnei Yisrael, taking them out, like you said, 72 degrees, nice weather, whatever. But after 210 years of slavery, even if it was freezing cold that night, don't you think they would just want to leave? They don't really care what
That's exactly my point. Exactly. You nailed it. That means, even though that's what we would have thought, I would have thought that, you just thought that, what you just said is the typical thought process of a person. It doesn't matter to me. But you know what? It does. The little things you do for somebody matter. And even though I'm giving you something so great, you think, does it really matter if I give it to you with a smile or not with a smile? I'm writing out a humongous check to you. And I'm telling you, when you speak Taniyim, we got to get back to my other question about Chatzos Laila. But when you speak Taniyim and you say to them, tell me, you go through all these places in America, and you knock on thousands of doors, from Chicago to New York to Miami to Los Angeles, and you ask people for money. And it's not easy asking people for money. It's not easy to talk about your tzaros and your problems and your this and your that. But you know what they'll tell you? The places I most appreciate are not the biggest checks. And I've heard this from more than one person. Many, many people over the years have said, it's the person who can write that check out with a smile. It might be $18, but the guy made me feel like $1 million because he said, come sit down. What's the name of the... Go. Good night. And I, $10,000. Whoa. Now, it's true. He's going to make him feel good when it's 10,000. But you know what? There's a certain element, but how do you give it to me? How do you give it to me? And somebody else can write out an $18 check, a $36 check. But look, he sat me down. He asked me if I need a cup of water. He just made me feel like a mensch. That's worth $1 million. And the message is that we are wired that way, that it does matter to us. And when we walk out and we think back, and every single time we read this parsha, we should be thinking and appreciating, really every single day we should be appreciating, that God didn't just take us out from Mitzrayim, this incredible miracle that is the statement of God's love for us for all of eternity, but God took us out in the springtime. He took us out at a time that things were comfortable. It was easier. Look at how much God loves us. He didn't take us out at a time we had to wear our winter coats and bundle up. As we all know, Friday night in the Shabbaton, what that feeling was when the wind was coming at us at 45 miles an hour. Okay, it was probably 10 degrees below zero with the wind chill factor. Okay, but you know what? Wow, look at that. Now, if we had to leave in freezing weather, we'd leave in freezing weather. If we have to do it, we do it. But you know what? Look at how much nicer HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it. And we can appreciate that. And we have to appreciate that. Yes?
It's very nice that it was during the spring when there was good weather. But Hashem told Avram that his children, descendants, will be in Galus and not at peace for 400 years. And Chazal say that it's actually from the time that Yitzchak was born. Yitzchak was born around Pesach. So wasn't it just the timer was up?
It could be. But, I mean, you're asking about God's calculations, and they're complicated. But the Torah, I'm just telling you what the Torah and the Rashi tells us. But the Torah writes the words V'chodesh Aviv, and Rashi says that those words indicate that I want you, Moshe Rabbeinu, to tell them, I'm not just taking them out. And he could have made it a rough day, even in the springtime, he could make it a rainy day, whatever. But, so I hear what you say, but I'm sharing Rashi's message. Rashi's message, that I want you to tell the people, look how much I love them. That means, yes, I'm not just going to write out the $100,000 check. I'm going to write it out with a smile, and I'm going to give it to them with an extra sense of love. And while you would think that we wouldn't care, while you would think it's not such a big deal, it is a big deal. It's a very big deal. And those small things, the way we do them, the smile and the sensitivity, and it goes both ways, Rabbi Son. We think that maybe when we don't do certain things properly in terms of derech eretz, and somebody's in the back and somebody wants to daven, and there's noise and there's schmoozing and there's talking, and somebody says shh, and maybe you might say, you know what, maybe I am annoying you, maybe I should actually be quiet and be sensitive and let this man daven. Might seem a small thing. I would have a conversation what's the big deal? Let him just concentrate a little bit harder. When you show sensitivity on the small things, those are huge. It means you're thinking that way. You're thinking from a sensitive point of view. Let me just get back to Bachatzos and Kachatzos. So Rashi tells us right then and there again. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said Bachatzos. Moshe said, Kachatzos, about midnight. Why? Rashi answers. Because I don't want the Mitzrayim to say, ha, he made another mistake. We can sit there and we can talk about, oh, is Mexico paying for the wall or not paying for the wall? Well, they are paying for the wall because they're going to pay for it with the new deal that we're making. We're going to get extra money. But he said, I'm going to pay for it. So you can sit there and start picking uni, all these things. What did he mean? Did he say? Didn't he say? Is he lying? Is he not lying? So Moshe Rabbeinu was sitting there saying, you know what? The Egyptians might get picky uni on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. My watch, it's a Timex, so it's not exactly, marine, maritime, the international maritime law, time clock being held. But if my clock says 12 o'clock, and there's no Makas B'choros, look at that, Moshe made a mistake. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a mistake. What?
Then they die a minute later.
Great question. Great question. They're dying a minute later, so what does it really matter? Yeah. Great question on Rashi. You know what Rashi is going to answer you? It matters. It matters. Because even for a little bit of a time, even though maybe in 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, it's all going to all come tumbling down on their heads, and Makas B'choros will start and will take effect, but those few seconds of Chil Hashem, those few seconds of desecration where they're going to say, he made a mistake. Well, slow down, you'll see. You want to give even the Egyptians even a few seconds of mocking, of making fun, of saying how we won, or Moshe made a mistake? You'd say it's insignificant, big deal. If they're going to know in a matter of minutes, they will know the truth. But the answer is, you don't want to risk those couple minutes. When you talk about Chil Hashem, you're talking about somebody saying, Hashem made a mistake, or Moshe made a mistake. You don't want to deal with that. You don't want to go there. You want to avoid any single possible angle of a Chil Hashem. The smallest things do matter. And small things are obviously not so small. If we would start to think in these terms, like I told you, trust me, when you get married, you'll realize. And sometimes you'll do a big thing for your wife, and it might seem like, oh, she's got to appreciate it. But if we didn't really think about the small thing that might need to go along with the big thing, then you know what? That's gonna leave a mark. The way we do something, the subtleties of how we communicate things. We might be doing something very big and very generous, but you know what? It wasn't given in the nicest way. So maybe, the gift wrapping is worth maybe 2 cents. The diamond ring is worth $10,000. But if we didn't take the time to actually present that diamond ring in the right way, it diminishes. But what do you care? Look at that ring. Right? I just forgot who it was. I just read somewhere in Fox News, 7 carat. Oh yeah, Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow gives a 7-carat ring or whatever to his newly engaged person over there, and so it's 7 carats. You know what? But what do you care how I give it? No, I care. It matters. I'm wired that way. Everybody said we are all wired that way. It matters. You didn't give it to me with a smile. You didn't give it to me with a proper gift wrapping. You didn't do something that was really significant. And but how's that significant? You know how much money I spent? I had to max out 7 cards for this. Okay? And now you're complaining? Yeah, but come on. Couldn't deliver it in a nicer way? You couldn't give me that little extra personal touch? And as a I don't know, I think there is some degree it's a man-woman thing about maybe how we interpret different things. But for sure, whether you want to make this about the different species and how we're different doesn't really matter. The point is, our job, certainly in relating to our wives, we have to get into their mindset. We have to get into how they react, their emotional connections to things. That's our job for them. It's their job for us to know how men react, how men do things, what men appreciate. It's different. Much of what the world tells you, it's different. It's not the same. We're not the same. We're not just quirks of societal impressions about who likes playing with soldiers and who likes playing with dolls. It's not true. But the point is, that's our job, is to think about those small things. Think about Moshe Rabbeinu calculating. I can't say bachatzos. I can't give the Mitzrayim even a second of an opportunity to look at something and say, oh, look at that. And maybe it's not exactly the same, Rabbi say, but when you're in a shul, I know that anybody who sits during Kedusha, it's because they're completely unfocused on Kedusha. Nobody would sit in this room, would sit during Kedusha and not stand up because basically they're saying, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I don't consider you important enough to stand up and say Kadosh, 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 and Baruch Kavod Hashem Kamo. That's definitely not anybody's intention. Chas v'sholom. But the very fact that we can be so disengaged from what's going on around us during davening, and that's what's going on, that we're sort of saying, we're not maybe thinking it, but we're saying it with our actions. I just don't care. I'm completely out of the process of what's happening around me. No one, I don't believe intentionally when you ask them to keep quiet, and once, and twice, and 3 times, and 4 times. You say, please be quiet. I don't believe intentionally somebody is saying when they don't stop talking, and they continue incessantly to have a conversation during davening. They're not saying, please, sir, whoever you are trying to shush me, I hear you. I have a complete disregard for everything you are and anything you stand for. So I'm going to continue to talk because I want to manifest to you ultimate and total disrespect. I don't believe that is the intention of anybody in this room. But you know what? That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying. Now I know so since that's not my intention, it's not such a big. No, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. One action or one inaction, one insensitivity that we're manifesting to somebody is a big deal. And people pick it up. And people look at it. And people are sensitive to it. It's public knowledge at this point, so I'll just share it anyway, because we had a Shabbaton in the girls' school, and they played the newlywed game, which not for newlywed, for people who are married for many, many years. So they played a little game on Shabbos afternoon, and couples were competing against one another. I was one of the couples competing with the other couples in the newlywed game, or maybe it should be called the married many years game. Whatever it was an interesting question. The question they asked that I and my wife had to try to come up with the same answer was, what's the most significant gift you ever gave to your wife? What's the most significant thing you ever, it doesn't say gift, what's the most significant thing you ever gave to your wife? And I pretty much answered like every other person answered, okay, the engagement ring, which is pretty much the most expensive thing you give over the course of the years. You think about it, it's probably the most expensive thing you give to your wife. And that's what I guessed. In the meantime, I was wrong. I didn't get the question right. Why did I get the question right? And please, no reactions and no oohs and ahs and sarcastic little that's so. It's okay. Just hold it in. It was amazing to me that the reason why I got it wrong is I forgot that, I don't know how long it took me, but it certainly wasn't very expensive. It was only my time. It was only a nice little parchment paper that I had written up. But it was a poem that I wrote. And amazingly, something that wasn't worth $1 in terms of actual worth was the answer that I should have remembered. I should remember that the most significant thing that I gave to my wife is actually something that I just gave out of emotion as opposed to money. It doesn't shine. You can't wear it. You can't put it. It never shows up anywhere. Okay, it's wrapped up in a drawer, and yet that is 35 years later, 39 years later, almost 40 years later, that's what she remembers as being the most significant thing I ever gave her. Rabbi Stein, it's a wonderful reminder. We go through life and we just sort of think, well, I didn't punch you in the face. I didn't do anything really bad. I didn't do this and I didn't do that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's a relationship? Because you didn't do anything really bad? Well, I put on my tefillin, but is that what we're about? Is that what you want to call true love and true appreciation of a relationship? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us little things matter. And Derech Eretz matters. And Chil Hashem's matter. Small conversations matter. How we sit matters. So I think this is a wonderful time to sort of reflect on the small, incredible chasodim. Because if small things matter, Rabbi Isai, and if we go through every single day, and when little things happen, we take mental notes. I would tell you to even write it down. It might be too much. I feel terrible that the Hashgacha Pratis that happens in our lives, in my life on a daily basis, I don't write down. I should have written it down over the years, because then you'd have so many amazing stories you can go back to. But when a person stops and reflects upon the little things that happen, the little incredible Hashgacha Pratis miracles of our lives, and we are reminding ourselves exactly how intimate our relationship is with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Ramban says at the end of Bo an incredible thing. There are no things as coincidences and anything that's not a miracle. There are big miracles and there are small miracles. But everything is a miracle. Every benefit that we get from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, every single time anything goes right in our lives, any single quirk of a coincidence, which is not a coincidence, that happens, it's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu reminding us, I'm here and I care. I'm with you and I love you. This is how a Jew needs to live their lives. So when little things happen, might not be a bad idea to make a little note of it. My little Hashgacha Pratis book. Look at the amazing coincidence. I needed something. I thought it would never happen. I just happened to meet the person who happened to know. These happens all the time to us. We just don't bother. Amazing. Wow. Amazing. I lucked out. Rabbi Isai, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us in life, whether it's with us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whether it's us with our friends, certainly our spouses, our future spouses, Bez Hashem, little things matter. If we can, from the little things, we can learn the proper lessons. We can, of course, as well do the big things. And from that type of sensitivity, we'll go Michayel Chayel Mizacha to be a Mashiach Meher Yameinu.